What's up, guys? It's Josh here, and we have
Bren,
CV. All right. So today we're gonna roll the sleeves.
We're getting nitty gritty, right? All right.
We're gonna tackle a subject that is controversial, and look, I'll just say this: we may not all be of the same opinion. I don't know what Bren's opinion of this is. I don't know what CV's opinion is of this. And no matter what they think, I love to get in a roundtable discussion. And honestly, diverse opinions and having these conversations is important, because what we find a lot of time, and I don't care what your political leaning is, right, left, centered, whatever it is, this sort of roundtable discussion doesn't happen enough. And I think that that's how we can bridge the gap. So I'm going to bring up a controversial...
Intelligent conversation.
Yes. I'm going to bring up a controversial subject, and I apologize for putting you both on the hot seat with this.
Let's do it.
But I want to know what your guys' opinion is. So we have right now controversy going on, and it's been going on as far as within the athleticism field, right? We have professional athletes that are taking titles from people who have potentially worked their whole life towards ascertaining that title. They're the top in their field, and all of a sudden somebody new comes along and wins, demolishes everybody. And in these specific examples, we're talking about transgender athletes. Now, this isn't something that should be a shock to you guys that you haven't heard about. So I want to know, I'll tell you my opinion, you tell me yours. What is your take on transgender athleticism? Now, before we dive into this, let me say, if you are a transgender person, do your thing, in my opinion. As long as you're not hurting or forcing anybody else to change how they view things, and that goes for anything, I have no problem with it. I take a very libertarian leaning approach with that. So, with that said, we do have to kind of talk about the sports. And the reason being is because it is becoming a political landmark as far as where we're going as a country.
Well, I don't think it's so much political as it is cultural. I mean, I think it's us as a culture. And I don't mean to just steal the spotlight, but I have a huge opinion about this, and I think that if you're transgender and you believe that you've always been of the opposite sex, by all means, you should be able to go do that. That is your right as a human being to just do you, boo. So, aside from that, when you are competing in physical competition, I think it is unfair for somebody who went through puberty as a male to compete with those that went through puberty as females. I just don't. There is science behind this. Our bone structure is different. Our muscle structure is different. Our bone densities are different. There are so many physical advantages that men have over women. And the most popular example of this, and what really solidified my opinion on this, is an MMA fighter known as Fallon Fox, where this person who's only transitioned for a couple of years, in their 30s, that have lived 3 decades as a male. They've been a competitive athlete for several of those years. They've trained to fight against men in physical combat, is beating the literal shit out of women and winning, and getting notoriety as a woman for doing it. I mean, in full disclosure, Fallon Fox has gotten beat by a woman, but that is not because Fallon Fox is like that. That's not because this woman was such a phenomenal fighter. If you look at Fallon Fox before they transitioned to be a woman, they were a horrible male fighter. So a woman that knows her shit and can fight beat the shit out of Fallon Fox. And that's everybody's argument is, well, women can still beat Fallon Fox. Yeah, but look at the vast majority of women that Fallon Fox has absolutely demolished in the ring. And then you look at like the transgender rugby player. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's just, I mean, absolutely yoked fucking like NFL linebacker looking dude that has a ponytail that says I'm a woman. Like, where do we draw the line that says, okay, you're just doing this because you sucked as a man in sports, and you know that the benchmark as a woman is lower because women physically can't compete with men so that you can win. Where do we draw that line? When is it okay to say, nah?
So here's what I'll say. I'll interject. I don't think that there's a transgender athlete out there who said, I suck as a man, so I'm going to transition and change my sexual orientation to compete and gain notoriety. There could be, but I think that would be very few.
I feel like there's several public cases that absolutely show that. There was a track star in Texas that they never placed more than 20th in the male competitions, and then transgendered it to be a woman, and then bam, all of a sudden she's winning state.
But did that person transition?
I don't think that was the sole reason, but at that point in time, you have to take that in consideration, and you have to be realistic about it. If this person's life is track and field, or this person's life is MMA fighting, or this person's life is professional rugby playing, and they're not excelling in that sport as a male, and then all of a sudden they become a female and they are dominating that sport, I think that the realistic human being can say that might have been a factor.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, right? We're talking sports, and when you say sport, right, that is a wide range. Is there ever an acceptable sport, in your opinion, that you would say, okay, I could see somebody transitioning and playing that sport and that being equal?
Absolutely.
What?
Professional gaming, professional chess playing,
Chess.
anything that doesn't involve physical ability.
Okay.
If not running, not lifting, not anything of force. Like, men are naturally stronger, naturally faster, naturally, like, anything that takes brute strength, men are naturally better than. Not every man. There are definitely those men that beta males that don't really excel. They're the skinny, can't lift 10 pounds. And there's definitely those women out there that are absolute brutes.
Killing it.
But you can't base a standard based on an irregularity.
So, I don't want to get your opinion on this here in a second. I'm letting you just kind of digest our opinions here. So let me ask you a question. And then I want to go to CV. Here is the person who is now taking hormone pills.
Right.
Here is a person who is fully transitioned, taking hormone pills, had surgeries up top and bottom. Is your standard that you're saying equal across all playing fields, or is there a threshold that they can cross?
When did that transition start? When did the hormones start?
So
What age? That's
here's the problem with this example, right? We could sit here and say, okay, well, what about 7? What about 8? What about 9? What about 10?
Right.
What about 20? What about 30? And we're going to find that
where I'm going with this.
changes.
You know where I'm going with this. So my opinion is if these individuals if they started transitioning prior to puberty, then that's fine, because their body didn't go through those changes.
But should they be allowed to?
This is where I was going with this. You can't sit here and say these two people can't drink alcohol because they're not competent enough to make decisions like that. They can't buy tobacco. They can't do this, they can't do that because they're not consenting adults. But then say these two people absolutely can make the decision that they can transition with hormones prior to puberty. So my personal belief is that once somebody is an adult and they say, my adult brain, my adult decision-making skills tell me that I need a transition, I believe that they should 100% totally be able to do that. No questions asked. Absolutely.
And you'd support that?
100%. But you don't get to compete at a professional level in physical sports because it's just not fair. It's not fair to every woman out there who spent and dedicated the majority of their life to that point, to excelling in these sports and being the best that they can be. And a lot of times, like, it can impact these women in huge ways, like in the high school level, where they're competing for a scholarship to go to college and get an education and better themselves. Because, like, for me personally, like, I grew up in a very poor household. I mean, the only way I was going to go to college was to get a scholarship or find a college that I could pay for myself. I didn't get a scholarship. I had to end up finding a college I could pay for myself. But a lot of these people that are in these sports trying to get the scholarship, that's the reason they're trying to get that scholarship. So when you have this guy that's 18 years old that now all of a sudden is on an equal playing field with these women who are in track and field or basketball or soccer or whatever the sport is, and they're absolutely dominating. They're taking attention away from those women who could potentially get those things, and I feel like that's a huge disservice.
Yeah.
Personally.
Okay. Stevie?
What's up?
That was a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have strong opinions on this. I do.
It was a good chance.
He went for it. Like, he didn't hold back.
You really hammered.
That was a
him.
lot.
Yeah. I'm just like, here I am, you know, a little high and drunk, and here he is. I'm like, all right, respect it.
So, do you want me to start off kind of like with basic questions and see where you
go
stand
for
and
it.
build from there? Okay. First off, if an adult chooses to transition, are you accepting of that?
Yes, absolutely.
What's your, and you don't have to answer it if you're uncomfortable. You can say, I don't want to answer that, okay? Because this is going live. This is going to be put on a platform.
What up, world?
Do you think transitions should be allowed for minors?
No.
Okay. So, having that established, that you're going to support somebody and you're gonna love them through their transition. If they're your friends, you're gonna support them no matter what, right? As consenting adults, where do you stand on athleticism? And we can start in a specific field if you want, right? He went straight to MMA. That's the hardcore brute one, right? So let's go straight to the MMA one.
Okay.
You know me as a male. Hopefully you've identified that.
I have.
It's new.
It took me a minute,
It's
but
new.
you know.
He's recently transitioned.
Yeah, recently, yeah. If I started taking, if you were an MMA fighter and I was an MMA fighter as a man, and I was like, I feel like a woman, and I start taking hormones, female hormones, would you feel comfortable hopping into a ring with me?
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't feel comfortable hopping into a ring with me?
No.
Okay, so
I would.
I'll slap you. When the hormones are in, I'll slap you.
He's like, I can't wait.
And you're a man, and that would be hitting a woman, so you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Fuck, man. Damn it.
No, I mean, okay, so yes, there's going to be scenarios, I think you'll agree, where a woman will dominate a man, right? A woman who, truly, like, not in a...
What are we talking here, Josh? Because I'm into some weird shit, man.
There's scenarios where a woman could dominate a man physically in a fight scenario.
Yeah.
It's not the standard.
Very uncommon.
Very uncommon, but there are women who are absolute
There's a
beasts.
possibility. Yeah, absolutely.
And there are men who are absolute not beasts.
Oh, I personally know a few women that I would really hate to get in a fist fight with because they might knock my ass out. But it's a rare case.
Right. So, okay. So we've identified that you don't think maybe it's equal, it's fair. And a lot of that goes back to, I don't know that a minor should be making those decisions. But as an adult, you've already gotten all your full testosterone. When you're in your 18 to 20 years old, you're at your highest peak, which is usually anywhere from 400 to 850 as far as your testosterone levels, which is crazy off the charts. Like, that's the highest you'll ever be. So I understand what you're saying with that. And I'll get to my opinion in a minute. What about basketball? Let's say that I am a 7-foot African American born man who's transitioned to woman. Should I be able to play in the WNBA?
No, absolutely not.
Should LeBron James, if he decided today was a woman, should he be able to play in the WNBA?
We've got a blonde wig he can use.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's a genuine question. Like, if LeBron James decided, I want to be a woman now, should he be able to play in the WNBA?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. It's your personal opinion. Do you think he should?
Yeah, I do feel like we've kind of gotten your idea.
Yeah.
I'll answer that. What about chess?
Oh, yeah. Chess.
Chess, huh? No, that's a matter of brawn. I don't care who you are, what you identify, what gender. You could be a space alien. That's all brawn.
Brain.
Brain.
Brawn is...
Dude, I'm fucking so drunk right now. I'm just
Okay, I
like,
knew what you meant. I knew that. I knew what you meant. Yeah.
I'm just like
I wasn't
trying
gonna
to
correct you. I'll be like, yeah, it takes a lot of muscle to
Brain,
take
no?
that
To move
take
that
that
shit.
queen and go,
fucking
bitch.
Yeah.
You don't know, maybe some people are really into like sliding it across the floor.
Yeah, it takes a lot of brawn.
any competition that is of mental capacity, absolutely, hands down. I'm gonna be honest with you. Any man that transitions and becomes a competitor in a mental capacity game is probably gonna get their ass kicked by a woman. Like and again, there's science to back that up.
Right.
But any man that transitions to do physical competition with a woman is probably gonna win. That's that, and again, science backs that up.
So I'll tell you guys, I didn't know either of your opinions before starting this video.
I thought that we're actually way more similar than I thought we would be.
Well, you don't know where I stand.
Well,
bitch.
No, but doesn't matter.
No, I'll tell you right now. My opinion, I align with you guys, right? Like, I don't think an undeveloped minor should be making decisions that could alter their life. The minute you turn 18, if you've determined that this is what you should do, and I'm not saying this has to be forced, but I would respectfully say that before you make a life-altering decision like that, you do seek some sort of counseling, and I say that respectfully because a lot of people who are transgender do have mental illnesses that they deal with that leads to suicide, and it's unfortunate.
44%.
Yeah, it's actually the highest out of any group.
Yep.
So I say that from a place of love, not from a place of hate or judgment. I say that from a place of love, and that is a decision. Once you choose to make the final clip, that's not something that can grow back with Miracle-Gro. If you're a male transitioning to a woman,
once you lose the dick, man, it's
gone.
It's there.
Game over.
It's gone.
So but at that point, as far as with the sports, I don't need to parrot what you guys said because you said exactly how I feel, both of you. So yeah, that's essentially where I lie.
Is ping pong a brawn or brain sport?
I think that it's a brain sport.
Yeah.
It's truly a brain sport. It doesn't take brawn.
You can only hit a ping pong ball so hard.
So hard,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And really, you don't want to hit it too hard.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I guess if you're a transgender and you want to be a professional ping pong player, I'm cool with that. I just learned something.
Where do we draw the line as far as who's making these determinations?
I think it's up to the individual organizations. I think that like the WNBA or Pride Fighting, which is I believe where Fallon Fox is fighting, or UFC or whoever that governing body is, that's a private organization. I think it's time that they stop appeasing the political aspect of things and they look at what is actually right.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Pride. I just imagined somebody, Fallon.
Pride Fighting. That's an ironic.
Fallon Fox. I watched highlights of some of her fights. I mean, I'm going to say she because that's what you prefer right now. Call it whatever you want. I'm not going to get into the political side of it, but I mean, rights and lefts all day, knocking women out.
I mean, just polarizing. I mean, it's not even on the same playing field. It's like taking cavemen who throw sticks and saying we're going to put them up against special forces and Navy SEALs, and we're going to call we're going to see how this plays out.
How this goes.
So that's kind of where I stand as far as that goes. Like I said, on a personal level, and this is just one of those concerned citizen things. If you are thinking about transitioning or you are transitioning, respectfully, whether you think you've got it under control or not, just out of self-care, I think anytime you make any big decision, not even necessarily about that, you should seek some sort of counseling to make sure that you're in the right headspace to make a determination like that. But if you determine you are, I'm going to give you a thumbs up. That's kind of where I stand with it. She's going to give you a love sign.
Right, just a little love heart.
I mean everything that I say.
Shut up, you fascist piece of shit.
I mean everything that I say out of love, and I don't mean to talk like transgender people are anything less than human beings, but we're not talking about people in their everyday life. We're talking about competition.
Yeah.
And that's where my passionate views on this come from, is because, like I said earlier, anyone, man or woman, it doesn't matter. If you've dedicated your life to being great at something, and you have somebody on a completely different playing field have such an unnatural advantage, I think that's something that we should all be realistic in and say, feelings don't really matter in this aspect. Like you've been a man for 30 years and you transition to a woman, good for you. I'm really happy that you're where you want to be. with yourself, but you don't get to compete with women.
So let me ask you a question then. Let's flip the coin, because we have to be respectful to all sides. We have to look at it
Right.
from all aspects.
Right.
Let's say I've decided I'm a woman, right? I'm 21 years old. I'm actually 19. But I'm 21 years old and I decide to start taking hormone pills, right?
Yeah.
And I'm increasing my estrogen, dropping my testosterone, and I'm, growing out my hair. I'm looking good. I'm looking fresh. I'm looking hot.
Okay.
But I am in that field. I am an MMA fighter. Am I now at a disadvantage when I go to fight men?
Possibly, but that was your own choice. It's not these women's choice to go fight some dude who's been a dude for 30 years and decides that they're a woman, 2 years ago. That's not those women's choice. They signed up to fight women who grew up as women, who developed as women, who have the same bone and muscle structure as women, because that's a level playing field. They didn't sign up to be pitted and their abilities gauged against that of a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you make the choice, hey, I want to be a woman, I'm going to take this estrogen, you made that choice. It comes back to consent. You
I'll
consented
drink to that.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think you nailed it right there. Like, I was actually sitting there like, shit, where do I stand on this? Because that's a side of it I've never thought of. Is like, well, fuck. What if you're passionate about fighting? Are you at a disadvantage?
Even on the flip side, though, like a woman who decides that she's actually a man and transitions to be a man, where does she fight? Does she fight the men? I think we can all agree, no, she doesn't. And that's just the thing, is that you can see that there's a huge difference in men that transition to women and compete at women's sports versus women who transition to be a man and compete in men's sports.
I really like.
It's very disproportionate.
Yeah, I like the equal playing field that you've built. Because, like I said, I didn't until I asked that question. I'd never thought of that.
Yeah.
And I never thought, well, shit. What about those people? And I think that you've actually explained it really well, at least in my perspective.
I'm not super drunk yet, so I'm still coherent enough to be able to develop some sort of thought. Yeah.
CV, what do you think? Snitches get stitches.
Oh, fuck. So, let's recap.
Okay.
What did you do? You have like a specific
thing
answer?
I was going to ask you about? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I apologize. I should have reframed because he went kind of on a tangent, which was perfect for me in understanding. But I essentially said, well, what about, like, let's say I'm a man, right? And I'm an MMA fighter. And I decide I am a female. That's the sounds I make when I train. Watch their training videos. I decide I'm a female. If I start taking hormones, but I'm expected to still fight men, am I at a disadvantage? And what he said was essentially wrapped up in a bow.
That's your choice.
Yes, but that was a choice you made. Instead of forcing, infringing on others, if you make that determination, you still have to fight within the parameters of what you've been set and you were given.
Wait, no, I absolutely agree. If you made a choice that eventually you wanted to go to male to female, that you understood the obligation that no matter what, that you would always fight within the same gender as yourself.
Fight
Because
or
regardless,
run,
until you have enough, estrogen in your body, you're always going to be stronger than that moment. It doesn't matter. It's biological. You cannot control that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it's not just fighting, but fighting, running, biking,
Exactly.
jumping.
Anything physical activity, yes, men overpower women. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that 110%. You guys are always going to have that top advantage over women regardless. You're always going to have that strength.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, you women out there who want to transition to men, get into something that has to do with your brain, because you'll whip those guys' asses, I'm just saying.
Not always.
Josh is a bigot.
I'm a fucking lyrical genius. Since Kanye West has gone Christian, I've had to take over the rap game.
Right. Jesus.
All right. With that said, I don't think there's much more to say on this topic, so I do want to transition to another conversation, and it's going to be lighthearted because what we went into was heavy as far as opinions. You had to formulate and articulate your opinion.
Okay.
We are as I tell my kids, 3 sleeps away from Christmas, right?
Oh shit!
It's not far away.
Oh man.
Intense, man.
Fuck.
Shit.
1 sleep and your Christmas present gets here.
So, CV,
Yes.
what do you want for Christmas?
Oh shit.
Shit.
And we'll do maximum. You have all the money in the world. What do you want?
Wow.
And 1 item, and then we'll do within reason. What would you want?
So 1 item that there's no chance in hell, right?
Mhm.
And then 1 item that I could possibly.
And 1 more. 1 that's not material.
Ooh.
All right. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Whooping out the spirit. All right.
1 that's not material is peace of mind.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
Elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Being comfortable with myself, and I think not being so hypocritical or hateful towards myself, accepting myself for who I am. I think that's something I would want to do for myself personally, overall. Unrealistic, materialistic item. I think I would love a McLaren. I think that'd be dope as fuck. But that's just never gonna happen, so it's fine.
It's not crazy expensive.
I mean, it's only like $420,000.
Or like more than
You missed the hour.
fuck, like triple my salary. And then 1 realistic item. I think just a small little house that I could decorate for myself.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brennifer?
Well played. 1 peace of mind. Man, I wasn't prepared for this.
You're a copycat. Can you take your own thing?
Man, this is wild. 1 peace of mind gift. We'll come back to that. Unrealistic. I would like to have my own business. I would love to have my own business for Christmas.
I can help you start a felling business.
No, my own successful business. Let me clarify, Josh, you're out. 1 realistic goal. I have my eyes on a new bike, and I'd really like to have it in my garage right now.
What bike?
That's a CBR 1000 RR 2006.
You heard it, Santa.
You heard it, Santa. The shit better be there. I'm coming for you. Peace of mind gift. I would just like to have a day that I could always remember as a super special day. I haven't had one of those, I want to say, in my life. So I would just like to have that.
The fuck have we been doing for the last
I know.
years?
I mean, let's be honest. Like, we all get stuck in this humdrum
Yeah.
cycle of just monotony that just kind of keeps going and keeps going. Like, I can't tell you what I did on August 24th of this year. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to be able to look back and say, man, Christmas in 2019 was super fucking special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
How about you, Josh? Tell us
Josh.
what you want, Josh.
All right. So if we are talking small, $1,000 or less,
You just want monetary gains. That's it.
no
Unreasonable, $10 million. Reasonable, $1,000.
No,
Peace
actually-
of mind, every bill.
Actually,
paid
I
off.
think you'll see that I'm actually a sweet person. Sub $1,000 a used Canon 90D.
Oh.
Okay.
That's what I would get. If I had unlimited resources, I would want the opportunity to have a $40,000 gift card that I could stand at a Walmart and pay for people's groceries.
You're such a good Samaritan. Just give it all to Salvation Army guy.
No.
No.
No. No, it's just truly like a way to bless others.
Give back.
And then the last question that I came up with that I can't remember is
Peace of mind. Realistic.
Like
unrealistic.
something that's not materialistic.
material.
Yeah.
Very normal.
If it was something that didn't involve money, right? A thing, I would call it a legacy.
Do you want a
It would-
legacy for Christmas?
It would be where my kids, like, we do things, right? Like, we try and help others because my wife and I have been blessed in ways that we're not rich, but we've been blessed in ways that other people haven't, and that we didn't experience as kids. Like,
Right.
my dad, he made a good living, but I lived with my mom most of the time, and I mean, like, we were so poor, my pinky toes look like this compared to the rest because the shoes didn't fit. So my toes are all kind of fucked up because they were pressed. So now having it to where we don't have to worry about that with our children, we provide a good life for them. And knowing where my wife and I both came from, which was very poor backgrounds, we like to give back and bless others. So if it was it would be having them see the things. So like at our school, we had it to where there was a tree and there were two families that are, in a situation where they can't provide Christmas for their kids.
Yeah.
So we grabbed a couple things off the tree for each family, went, bought it, explained to our kids because they're asking why they weren't getting this stuff. Explained to them that was for other people, and kind of explained that the life they live, although we don't have a mansion or anything, we're upper, lower, middle class.
Upper, lower.
Yeah, we're on the upper end of the lower end of middle class.
Okay, so you're middle class.
No. Well,
middle class.
No, we're below middle class,
okay.
but that's the next step. So it would be just to have that instilled in them, that heart for charity and for giving to others. And I think that kind of goes back to our previous conversation we had, where I said if I loan somebody money, I immediately write it off in my mind because I don't want to stress about $200, $1,000, or anything like that. I'd rather just say they're not going to pay me back, and if they pay me back, then I'm excited. That's
Right.
cool. That's money I
Right.
didn't anticipate.
Zero, no expectation.
Yeah, so it would just be having my kids see those moments and having it resonate with them. That's what I would want for Christmas. But my birthday's a whole nother deal. Like,
You're
that's
like,
when
that's me.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all. Like
my wife and I, we have special holidays, and for me, mine is my birthday, and it happens to be right around tax season. And I've
Oh,
owned
you fucking dog.
right on.
You want
Fucking
me to
good
let
for
you know a little secret that's concerning me?
Mhm.
Our birthdays are 2 weeks apart.
Really, do
In
you
the
guys
same month?
Do you guys believe in like the signs, like the Aries,
To an
Pisces, shit
extent,
like that?
yes.
I do.
She's not cool enough to be a Cancer. I am a Cancer, so.
So do your guys actually like
No.
according to science so you get along?
No,
Everything
so
says
according-
horrible. Like literally said it had a 7% compatibility.
Yeah, like so he's a Cancer and I'm a Gemini, right? And like an astrology aspect, him and I shouldn't even be at this table. Right now
No,
together.
we should hate each other.
Yeah.
like,
that we should fucking despise each
So
other.
would you acknowledge that astrology is bullshit?
well, this is what I'll say. All right, and this doesn't tie into our conversation, but this is a good little ad lib. When those things were developed, when those mantras, whatever you want to say, were developed, we were nowhere near the same astrological position. I don't even know if that's a word.
Yeah, my name's Ben. Astrological. I have diabetes.
We weren't even in the same relative position in the universe. So like, a lot of people don't even understand, like, the Cancer constellation doesn't even come up during the Cancer sign anymore. So I think it's a cute, fun thing to play. There is some little cool synchronicities to it. Like sometimes my horoscope says exactly what I'm thinking. And it's like, oh, cool, that's neat.
And
but-
you don't think it's like kind of gimmicky, like to, mess with your feelings?
It's like,
A little bit,
Cancer.
Yeah.
You're gonna take a massive shit today and feel
You're
better
gonna do
afterwards.
this thing today.
I
at this
probably
place.
would feel that.
Oh, yeah, cool. I'm gonna do.
I'll watch and see if I have to cry.
You're like pressure decreased.
My name's Bryn. I have diabetes.
No, I'm not saying that I believe in it by like the gospel, but like there are some things that do, like there's some personality traits of a Cancer that I 100% identify with, like no question.
Do you think seeing it and saying, I could see that in myself, like there's things like, all right, so I'm a Pisces, right?
What is that?
Pisces?
Yeah, that's got to be the least popular zodiac sign.
No, it's actually the coolest.
Oh,
I'll
is
tell you
it?
why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
He's just reading.
And he's talking shit.
1 to 10.
So here's the thing about Pisces, and this is true for me,
Okay.
right?
What is the Pisces symbol?
It's a fish.
Yeah, it's
A fish?
Let me get to my point.
Okay.
As you sit here talking
British
shit,
word for cigarette? Like,
I had to bring chips to this guy. Now, here's the thing about Pisces. Pisces are all about money and are always finding ways to make money. With me, that is absolutely true. I have it to where I quit my full-time job and I have streams of income coming in from different places. So I don't have to stress about money. I also have a wife who works
makes really good money.
job.
Yeah.
So I only have to make X amount. And I know that even if I sleep, put my hat down, I'm going to make that because I've set up those streams and I've had them coming in, that supplemental income for years.
Like,
So-
share, and comment. Support Josh's fucking stay-at-home dadness.
Yeah, I'm full of shit. I need you guys to go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon.
But that's what I mean. Like, you can see things in a Pisces that definitely you identify with.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
But,
right, yeah.
if I said what's your sign?
Gemini.
If I said, you like money and you know how to make it, would you say, yeah, I like money?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to make it. That's totally me. Bryn,
Well,
hold on. Bryn,
Yeah.
you like money.
I like money.
You like to make it.
I like to make it. I haven't really figured out how to make a lot of it yet, though.
But that's not part of your horoscope. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, it's like a fucking fortune cookie that you open.
Exactly,
In Chinese, right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a
Like,
fun thing to do.
Oh my god.
this is a
I
whole
did-
nother podcast because apparently you are balls deep in this.
I'm
And
not
she's,
falls deep in it. That's a complete
she's over here with me
misrepresentation.
saying, it's like a fucking fortune.
That is not. It's a complete
You're
misrepresentation.
going to throw it away afterwards.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like you're gonna read and be like, oh, I'll find my true love, and then like move on with your life.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Why do you have Jeffrey Epstein on your phone?
That's an interesting conversation because I told my friend he's a letdown and he sent me that.
I'm like, you should report
So like
that.
him, you're hanging around?
Yeah, no. He said that. Yeah. I said no, you're a piece of shit. And he was like, me? I was like, yeah, you're a letdown. It's good to have friends, Josh.
Yeah. Well, we've got Christmas covered. We have transgenders, which I think is a perfect.
Transgender athletes.
Athleticism,
That's-
yep.
Yeah, because
I think this is the perfect Christmas special.
Christmas fucking special. What's up?
All right. Any last words?
Don't make Santa Claus gender neutral.
Oh, is that a sport?
No, that's a thing, and I think it's. No, we're not talking about it.
Yeah, can we also call gingerbread men still gingerbread men?
Thank you.
Like, are we allowed to do that still?
No, the gingerbread people.
Ginger people.
Gingerbread selves.
Right.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening.